It's time to show off a bit more of my collection here. And for this one I thought movie novelizations. I've started getting into that recently. We'll go through why later on at the end, but before we get into the novelizations, let's look at something that's sort of adjacent to novelizations, and that's comic book adaptations of movies. So here we have Constantine. Don't worry, I won't be flipping through all of the rest of them because they're books. I know there's a novelization to this as well. I'll probably end up getting that. Constantine, love that movie. That was one of the very few movies out there that they completely changed the source material and it still ended up being good. I know there's some people that don't like it, but I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Then we have Metal Gear Solid. This is a big boy. Well, I mean, the actual comic itself's not a big boy. It's rather small, but it feels so thick and compact. I got this second hand. I think I actually made that worse than it was, but it's still all there. It's still all readable. This has got Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2 in it, and when I read this I'll probably give it a wee go. It features the art of Ashley Wood. I forget who writes it, but I mean it's based off the games, so it may as well be written by Kojima himself. But you'll know Ashley Wood for the art because they did the cutscenes to Peace Walker on the PSP. I'm really happy with that. That just really feels, fuck me, that feels heavy in my hands. Right, let's get on to the actual novels. First up, we've got The Umbrella Conspiracy, Resident Evil. Then we've got Caliban Cove. Caliban Cove technically isn't a novelization, but it comes as a set, so I'll just throw it in. And then we've got 3, City of the Dead. That's based off the first one, this is based off the second one. Then we've got Underworld. That looks like it's based off the second one. I don't know. That's definitely based off the third one, though. I wonder what game Code Veronica is based off. And then we've got my biggest pet peeve of all. We've got Volume 7, 0R, which is based off 0, which means these entire books are out of order. And I don't want to put this one at the start because it says Volume 7 on it, but being at the end, it means it came last, but it didn't come last, it came first. I don't like these covers. I don't like I would rather have an original piece of art instead of the video game. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. Okay, moving on. These are in no particular order as well. I have a couple more video game ones, but I've just picked up the movie ones, so I thought I'll get to them. Ones like this always are weird to me because it's based off a movie that was based off a manga. That's Battle Angel Alita. I like this movie. I thought it was alright. This cover's very weird. Although that's very nice. But I like this movie. I thought it was alright. I heard a couple of people having problems with it, but for what it was alright. We have 2001 A Space Odyssey, which people think is an original book, but it was written alongside the movie, so it is a novelization. The Complete Alien Omnibus. Alien, Aliens, and Alien 3. I don't know if this has the William Gibson script from Alien 3, or if it's the script that they eventually went with, but I'd be interested in having a go at that. We have the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Considering Super Mario Bros. Is coming out, I might do a video on that sometime. Okay, so you know the way people always say release the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad? It already exists. It's this book here. It's the novelization of Suicide Squad. So, if you want to read the Ayer cut, this is what you want to look for. We have Uncharted. I didn't really enjoy Uncharted itself, the movie, but written by S.D. Perry, I'm willing to give that a go because she's a pretty good writer. We have Once Upon a Time in Hollywood by Tarantino. Apparently he was also working on Reservoir Dogs as well, so we might be getting that sometime soon. But I like how Tarantino's doing these novelizations. I think it's a pretty cool thing to do. When you see a novelization coming from the director themselves, you know that's going to be an interesting read. We have Terminator 2, This book looks like it has seen better days. As far as I can see, it's still eligible, still readable, just easier to open now. Next up, we have the Doom books. I'm a big fan of Doom. I've been playing the games quite a bit recently. Once I started getting into the mods that have been released for it, this one, don't even look for this one. It's a pain in the fucking arse to find. You may be paying over £100 for it. Luckily, I was able to get this entire thing here for about 30 quid. I'll fucking take that, no bother. They've seen better days condition wise, but again, as I said with Terminator, they're still readable. Now, I've heard people saying that yes, these are technically novelizations, but they go off in their own path and do whatever the fuck they want, and I can't wait to get into that. I love when I see people making their own stuff out of things. Yes, it may not be in line with how things are supposed to go, but it's very creative to me. I enjoy it. I love getting a good laugh out of stuff like this. Then we have Independence Day. Found this pretty cheap, so I thought I'd pick it up. I enjoyed Independence Day. Come on, like it's Independence Day. I haven't seen the second one, but I'm not going to probably watch it. I think I'll leave it with the first one. The first one was pretty good. And then we have one of my favourite movies out there. That's Cabin in the Woods. I never actually noticed that until the light shined on it. Must be a wee bit of there must have been a sticker there or something that pulled off the shininess. Oh well. Mrs. Clava does not like this film whatsoever, but I think it's really imaginative, really cool, and the ending's just a fucking roller coaster ride. And then lastly, we have the novelization for the first Metal Gear Solid. The guy that wrote this book's a randy bastard, so he has like some of the scenes that he has made up, fuck me. I mean, I know in the original game, Snake was a bit of a flirt, and this one he's just a horny bastard. Also, I forgot to show this off. This is just the same first Doom book, but this is a layer printing, so I actually ordered this and then I found the other ones cheap and I just decided to pick them up straight away. So I've got 2 editions of the first book. So you're probably asking yourself, what's the obsession with novelizations? And I've got 3 answers. 2 of them are smart, 1 of them not so much. Reason number 1, they're cheap. Collecting them's quite cheap. I mean, Cabin in the Woods cost me £2. Suicide Squad cost me £2.50. Terminator was like £1. Maybe these 4 weren't as cheap as the rest of them, but like there's not very many of these that are like high end compared to everything else. Reason number 2 is because sometimes if a studio comes in, a la Suicide Squad here, and starts meddling around with things, the script changes, but the person who's writing the novelization will have an older version of the script, most of the time anyway. You can end up getting the better version of a movie. Now, that could also change. There could also be movies that are really, really good and you read the novelization and they're terrible, and that's because the script changed halfway through to make it better. There's a Predator novelization that I've heard the design of the Predator is completely different in the book. Reason number 3, which is the stupid one, let's say tomorrow the electric went out. I've got movies right here that I can read, and even if they're not the same, I can still remember what that movie was like. I wouldn't really say I'm much of a prepper, but it's a good thing to have. I mean, there's a possibility if the internet went down tomorrow, the entirety of civilization collapsed and everything was in a calamity, I wouldn't even care about these books, but you never know. It's always good to have. Right, that'll do it for now.